joining us today. Today we're going to be discussing a very interesting topic, which is topical, and that is mental health. And it's my pleasure to welcome Shannen Simmons today, who is a dermal clinician and a business owner and quite a dynamite in the industry. She is a woman of great passion and commitment to not only quality education and improving women's skin, but also in supporting them emotionally, and she's quite skilled in that area and has some experience, and this is why we've chosen to share that this session with her. Our intention is to make this session bring hope and not to make it a heavy duty subject, and this is why I chose to wear something very soft, like peach, without Shannen knowing. She mirrored me. So we're on the same page, and we've got our lovely flowers in the middle. So please know the session is going to be not gloomy, but it's about understanding what happens to people and ways that we can improve their life and bring hope to them. So welcome, Shannen. It's been a pleasure to have you today.
Thank you for having me.
Our first question is that this week in Queensland, 9th to the 17th, is Mental Health Week. And from what we know, there's over 400 events scheduled to support mental health. So obviously it's appropriate for us to do something in that area. So having her own clinic, I want to ask you, what have you included in your services that specifically aims at helping people with mental health issues? And the area also I want to ask is, have you made any changes in your consultation form in terms of questions that you ask that can be an indication that you can help them in that area?
Yes. So basically I develop a really good rapport with my clients and a relationship. So creating that safe space for them to sort of, talk about if there's anything going on, but also showing empathy towards their client, and that could be, just putting your hands on their shoulder or just, saying, I'm sorry you've been through such times. And also removing the stigma around mental health as well. So when you get a client that comes in and they might, you ask the question, are you taking any medication? And they could, become a little bit shy or embarrassed around the fact that they are taking, Lexapro. And that's where, you sort of remove the stigma and say, look, it's okay. Most people take this medication. That's, really normal, and get them to feel,
understood.
Yeah. And it's removing those barriers too. So that's what I have done, implemented, and also in the consultation asking, are they under any stress as well, or if they have anxiety or depression.
So physically, what symptoms do you look for? Yeah,
so obviously, in the waiting room, you might see some really nervous, taking some deep breaths, fumbling around, a little bit panicky and shaky. Their voice might be quite rapid, their speech, and really just looking at their overall sort of picture of how they are. Are they, quite stressed walking in? That's usually a key indicator that there's a little bit more than what we're seeing is happening to them.
And shallow breathing too.
Yeah. And
so do you do any breathing exercise when you get them on the bed? Do you get them to take any?
Yeah, I always get them to take a deep breath and try to calm them down first, and usually start with some questions like, how's your day been? What have you been up to? Sort of those sort of things. And sometimes they might say, oh, look, I've had a fight with the husband or whatever, and then you can sort of delve a little bit deeper into what's sort of happening there, or if they're willing to open up.
So in terms of skin, what manifestations are you seeing with people that have got high stress levels?
Yeah, so obviously, their wound healing's not going to be as good, so therefore I wouldn't sort of undertake a procedure if they're under a lot of stress that is prolonged. I wouldn't be undertaking some sort of treatments that are going to require everything to sort of come together for them. I would say that, this is not the time for them. Why don't we try something else that's more relaxing?
And more nurturing, I think, to bring that equilibrium back into their,
giving them some
health.
love.
Yeah. Okay. So with regards to, where do you draw the line when you see that someone is severely compromise, if you like, and to the point where it may affect their appreciation of what you're doing, because that's an important issue. Do you draw the line somewhere?
Yeah, so I've actually turned people away for treatments because they weren't in the right headspace to make the sound decision of an informed consent. So you know they could have lost a partner or a spouse or something like that, and they just need that time to grieve and to be. So that's where I say, look, this is coming from a place of love.
Yes.
This is not the treatment all the time for you. I'm so happy to offer this treatment to you at a different time, but now's not the time. Why don't you focus on, and look at other solutions for them? Is it offer them, a relaxing facial or go on, a massage, but don't undertake those sort of treatments that are going to, require an informed consent.
Do you find that people gravitate to that solution, or are you finding any resistance with them listening to you to change perhaps the plan?
Yeah, look, of course you're going to get some people that are very angry that you're not going to do what they want, but most of the people are very like, thank you for looking out for me and the best interest of me. So if you come from a place of love and say, I really do care about you and I want you to get the best result, this is going to impact how your skin is going to repair and your result at the end of it. So it's...
Well, you have a duty of care to your own treatment outcome. So you have a professional responsibility to make sure that they're investing money in you and you'll be able to deliver. And if you identify that you're not going to get the result because they're too stressed, then obviously it's the appropriate and ethical thing to do.
Exactly.
Okay, so my next question is, tell us about your own journey and areas that you have overcome challenges in stress and mental health areas.
Yeah, so I have a diagnosis of anxiety and depression, and I take medication for that, and I'm very honest and open about that because to me it's the same as if I was an asthmatic, I'd be taking a puffer. So there is no difference to me taking medication for my mental health or taking, insulin or asthma medication, whatever your disorder or issue is. So for me, there's no stigma around it. But the biggest thing that I found useful is actually seeking help and seeing a psychologist to recognise my own triggers and how to sort of recognise my own behaviours and how to stop that from occurring and happening. Without medication and doing some cognitive behaviour therapy, I wouldn't be able to, manage 4 kids, go to work and go to university and do all those things that I do in life, somewhat successiously. And it's definitely a lot easier for me to be able to achieve things by taking medication.
Okay, well, so really, because it's part of your own journey, you have a greater empathy.
Yes, I understand.
And you'll be able to identify the symptoms as well in others, which is really good. With what's happening with COVID, we know that the level of depression and anxiety is quite extensive. Yeah. And it is now become relatively common. And as you say, it's good for you to remove the stigma without necessarily making your treatment bed as a psychology couch. You don't really want that, but it's amazing as you constantly referring to love, and really love is the best healer.
It is.
And if we can show compassion and love and care, that may be the turning point for someone to take a breath and review their life and gain the strength to be able to look at ways to navigate their problems. And so really you're bringing another dimension of care in your treatment. So people come to you, they're not only getting their skin looked after, but they are respected as a total human being and honoured for whatever other areas. And as you gain skills, you'll be able to share those with others and give them little tips.
I often get clients walking out going, oh, also got perfect skin now, but I've got, I feel like I've, been to the psychologist as well. So,
have you found that having the lockdowns has exaggerated people's symptoms or created symptoms that they never had before?
Yeah, I definitely think anxiety is definitely getting more obvious. People are really tend to be more stressed and more panicky. Just walking in there, a little bit more. The symptoms.
And we're pretty blessed. I mean, in Queensland, we haven't had the severe lockdowns of other states.
But I can imagine what are they going to be happening now that they're opening up, and how people are going to be walking in.
Well, it's wonderful that you can incorporate part of your life journey into your profession, and you can bring extra value to clients. Now, the other question I was going to ask you, as a service-based industry, what tips would you offer colleagues who want to improve their environment in mental health for themselves and their staff?
Yeah, so basically providing some education around what it is and an understanding of how, mental health can impact everybody. And also having an open discussion about it. There's no stigma there, once again. Creating honest and open leadership, and that, making everyone inclusive into that as well would be, giving your staff ideas on, what could we put on the treatment menu, giving them sort of, jobs, you could say, so then they feel like they're contributing as well. And also, I think managing skill levels and abilities to what you're asking the person to do, because if you're going to overload them, they're not going to be able to cope with those demands.
In some ways we have to look at how where are the limits for people and what they can manage, whereas if things were better for them, then the tolerance of pressure maybe has shifted and is different, so we have to take that into consideration.
And I think also trying to get a work-life balance. A lot of the people that are working are probably going to be parents, and they may have to take time off for their children, or they may have to do school pickup. So trying to incorporate that into a somewhat life job and getting the whole balance happening for them would be really good.
An interesting thought is, on the basis that you have had treatment, do you feel that by activating that knowledge for others has helped you get stronger?
Oh, absolutely. I feel I wouldn't be able to do what I do without going and seeing the psychologist, without sort of investing time in myself to really understanding of what's happening. And also the best thing I ever did was go on medication for it, and to see a psychologist to sort of learn the barriers and the boundaries and the triggers, and also taking time for self-care. Like you're always, as a business owner, you're always giving and putting in, but sometimes it's about stepping back and actually realising what's going on around you, and having a day for Netflix and just relaxing and turning off your phone.
Well, look, Shannen, you are truly admirable, and you bring so many dimensions and encouragement, and your courage, I think, is the thing that comes through the most, and people always love your beautiful smile, and wouldn't even dream that you've had your own challenges in that area. But it gives hope, because it shows that your productivity has actually been enhanced. It hasn't been hindered in any way. So it shows people that obstacles are present in our lives, but we don't need to allow them to sabotage our purpose, and also the fact that we have the power, if we seek the right answers, to recover and become a stronger and more valuable human being. And
absolutely.
And really, I think challenges also help to develop the empathy
Yes.
that we have for others, which is, I think, critical. Well, we're thrilled that we've had the opportunity to share this moment with you, and we trust that our viewers have benefited from the encouragement and Shannen's story. APAN is looking at developing a program to help with mental health towards the end of the year. We want to include it as part of our membership. So it is wonderful to see success stories like Shannen's, and to be able to share this space with her, and to allow others to get courage to understand that life is still beautiful. And we wish everybody the very best. Thank you. Thank you so much for
Thanks for having
coming
me.
and spending the time with us. It was lovely. Thank you for joining us today. Solutions for Aesthetics is for your benefit, and there'll be more sessions similar to this in the future. So please subscribe to the button below and don't miss out. Thank you.